Hey, friends. Okay, it is so great to be here at MOMcon. I'm a mom, so I feel like I'm in the right space. My motherhood came to me a little bit differently. There's a picture of my family coming up. All of my children are adopted, and all of them grew in other women's wombs, came home to call me mom. And this is an honor I do not take lightly. I'm going to introduce you to them a little bit more. This next picture is my eldest daughter, Mason. Mason is 10 years old. She came home, and she's a dreamboat. She came home at 3 months old. Mason has Down syndrome. My next daughter, Truly. Truly is 7, also a dreamboat. And Truly came home around 5 months old. All of my kids were born in Southern California, which is where I'm from. And then my son, August. August is going to be 5 in December, and I know. You're wondering, does he rule the family? Yes, in fact, he does. I mean, he basically rules the world. What are we going to do with those short shorts and that face? He gets anything he wants. So that's us. This is my family. I'm assuming with an introduction that small, that leaves a lot to wonder. And lucky for you, I've written an entire book about it that you're welcome to buy and read. And today, I could talk to you about so many things. I could talk to you about adoption. I could talk to you about interesting relationships with birth families, or I could talk to you about congenital heart defects and open heart surgeries and incurable lung diseases that require oxygen for 2.5 years from my oldest daughter, and then miraculous healings. I could talk to you about what it's like to be a white woman raising a daughter who's a different ethnicity than I am, and how there's limited spaces in our world for my kids to actually fully belong and be seen as worthy. I could talk to you about any of these things, but today I'm going to talk to you about a dance recital, because why not? So let's go right there. Here's my daughter Mason again. This is my very favorite picture ever of Mason, because it just embodies who she is. Mason loves music, and Mason loves to dance. Mason started walking around 3 years old, but she started dancing the second her little body could move. So she was dancing years before that. This is a picture of Mason in her costume for her very first dance recital. Now, given the fact Mason loves to dance, it took us 8 full years to actually get her into a dance class. It's hard to really adequately explain why it took us that long, because we knew about her passion for dance. But really, it's because things like dance classes don't usually account for things like Down syndrome. Oftentimes, when you approach an extracurricular, there's like a separate special class for kids like Mason. This is also found in our schools and even our churches, these separate special classes. The thing about it is, Mason doesn't live in a separate special world. She's not going to grow up and go to those separate special grocery stores or ride in that separate special Uber car. No, she lives in this world. She's a member of her community in this world, and therefore she should be able to be a part of all places within her community, including her dance studio. So we found a dance studio. I just called it the first one I found, actually. That was the science behind that. And the lady, Allison, who runs the studio, she said, I've never had a student with Down syndrome, but this is exciting. Let's do this. She's welcome to any of my classes. So we show up. It took Mason less than 30 seconds to completely fall in love with hip-hop. Every Tuesday, we showed up for hip-hop, and she danced her heart out. And every week, friends, it was obvious she was the only different kid in the room. Her moves were going to be a little bit different. It was going to take her a little longer to learn every 8 count. She might only be able to remember 1 8 count at a time. She was going to get out of formation. She was just a little bit different of a dancer. And bless her little heart, she knew it. Sometimes she would feel discouraged by that. Sometimes she would say, it's too hard, I can't do it. But her love for dance and her love for hip-hop kept her going, and every week she showed up because she happens to also be the bravest little girl I know. And then, I don't know if there are any dance moms in this room, but this happened for months, and then it was recital season. Oh my gosh, someone laughed loud here because they know. Recital season is no joke, and I was a first-timer. And all of a sudden, she's going to rehearsal a couple times a week, and then we added a couple of extra private lessons for her, just give her that extra support so she could understand the moves and the routine better. I knew a dance recital like this was going to stretch my girl. On top of having to learn the routine and dance it in front of like 2,000 people, there was also going to be the lights and the loud music and the hustle and bustle of backstage. So as it got closer, there was an opportunity for her to do something called a tech rehearsal. This was about 5 days prior to the actual recital, where they checked the lighting and they checked the music. And so she shows up in her cute little harem pants and crop top, and we're backstage, and she's pretty hesitant at first. She's a little bit nervous. And then she understood what was going on, and when it was her turn to dance, she got out, slayed it, did awesome, as to be expected. 2 days later, friends, official dress rehearsal. So we're back. And now she's in the little on-deck area with all of her little friends in class. Everyone's excited. Mason is just smiling. She's so excited. When it's time for them to get backstage, everything is just different enough to throw her off. It's a little bit darker. There's a little bit of like a pushing and pulling to get the girls where they need to be. The curtain goes up. The girls walk out, everyone but Mason, and the music starts. And Mason's sitting on the side, and she's got her head in her hands. And I get down on her level. I say, honey, what's going on? She says, it's too hard. I can't do it. And so I thought, oh, shoot. Because I knew that if she didn't dance successfully at this dress rehearsal, it was highly unlikely she would want to dance at the actual recital. I knew she needed this to be successful. Also, we had 20 friends and family coming who bought tickets at $20 a ticket. You do the math, $400 worth of dance recital tickets, bless. And so I get down on her level. I'm like, babe, you've done this. You did this 2 days ago and you slayed it. You got this. She says, it's too hard, it's too hard. Song ends. Allison, who runs the studio, and at this point became a shouter of worth of our girl, gets on the mic and she says, all right, guys, no big deal. We just got to run some formations again. Let's pull up the music. Friends, there was nothing wrong with the formations. She was running this again for Mason. So again, music starts. Mason refuses to dance. Allison is across on the other side of the stage, and I look at her, and we're just like, oh, I don't know. I've never done this before. She's like, I've never done this before. Mason's like, I've never done this before. And so I walk over to her when the song ends. I said, Allison, I honestly don't know what to do. She said, you know what? Don't even stress it. I just want to see Macy dance. I said, yeah, me too. And so I walk outside with Mason and just like racking my brains, pulling out all the tricks, and there's 2 things I know for sure. One, it did not matter that we had spent $400 on recital tickets or $75 on a costume. If Mason decided not to dance in the recital, that was going to be so fine. We were so unbelievably proud of her to get to that point. She was going to know that if she didn't dance at the recital, it was not going to change her value or her worth or how proud we were of her. 2, Mason had to dance for Mason. She wanted this so bad, and I just wanted to get in her mind and figure out what was going on for it to be so difficult for her. And I could see in her little eyes, we just walked around outside for a while, and I would say, babe, you can do this. And she would say, I can't do it. It's too hard. I can't do it. It's too hard. And me just like saying, but you've done it. You've got this. You know your moves. It's not scary. Her saying, I can't do it. It's too hard. And I knew she needed to do it for herself. So as I'm racking my brain what to do, I finally take her into where the audience would be for this rehearsal, and we watch a few routines. I said, hey, babe, that's what it would be like. You would be like that on stage. And so I'm just about ready to leave. A few songs have gone by. I'm about ready to get up, and Mason goes, Mom, I'm ready to dance. So I'm like, let's do this. And I grab her hand, and I look her in the eyes and say, babe, you've got this. So we walk backstage. She taps Miss Allison and says, Miss Allison, I'm ready to dance. And Allison, without missing a beat, goes, great. All right, guys, we're going to be pulling up the music for Uptown Funk, which was her song, and the lighting for Uptown Funk. Can somebody go grab all of the girls that are ready to dance her in this routine? It just so happens, all of the girls in Mason's hip-hop class were also in a ballet class. And there they are on deck, every single one of them, in a full-length cream-colored tutu, full-length satin gloves, and a black velvet top. They hear Allison saying all this, and they start murmuring, like, what? We already did Uptown Funk twice, or we can't dance it in this. And Allison turns around without missing a beat again and looks at the girls and goes, oh my goodness, you absolutely can dance to that routine in that outfit, and no one has to do this, but we're all in this together, so I expect you to. And then a little girl, and I cry every time, guys, a little girl, she goes, I want to dance with Macy. And then all the little girls start looking at each other and saying, I want to dance with Mason. I want to dance with Mason. And then the next thing you know, the curtain goes up and the music goes on, and Macy walks out with her class and starts to dance. And Allison says, you get in that audience and you watch your little girl dance. So I run in front of the audience, and I'm weeping, and I look, friends, And in the most unexpected place, it is a picture of heaven. And there are a dozen or so little girls in their full-length cream tutus and their satin gloves, and my Mason in her drop crotch harem pants and a red crop top, dancing to Uptown Funk for the third time that night, 9 or 10 routines too late. It was hundreds of people bending and flexing to make this moment work for my girl. So the song ends, and I run backstage, and she runs out and wraps her arms around me, and she says, "I did it, Mommy, I did it." And I said, "Honey, of course, you're the best dancer I know. You're so brave." And then we leave. All right, I hug Allison, we're crying. Show goes on, we leave, and the whole way home, I'm just weeping, and Mason's beaming in her car seat in the back seat. She's so happy. 2 nights later, at the recital, she goes out and slays it. All 20 of our friends and family in the audience cheering her on. I was backstage there, and when it was time for her to go out, because of what had happened 2 nights prior, everybody stopped what they were doing and gathered around. And I'm there like in a sea of sequins and tulle. And I got to witness the heart of God in the most profound and powerful ways. Because you see, friends, God is for Mason. God is for people with different abilities. God is all about Mason being in every space in her community. God is for inclusion because God created inclusion. It is his heart. And it is only when we create inclusive spaces, when we scoot over and we make room in our lives for people who are different than we are, that we can fully begin to understand the heart of God. And the thing about this is, as moms, we have an opportunity to instill this in our children from day one. We have an opportunity to create an inclusive space and an inclusive world for our kids so that they can know God more fully, because without people like Mason in their life, they will be missing out on a huge piece of who God is. It's going to take a lot of us bending and flexing. It's hard work. It's going to take you and your kids being really uncomfortable sometimes. But I can tell you from experience, friends, that it is so, so worth it. When we make space for people who are different than us, we actually truly get to see the heart of God. Thank you so much.